Greetings, everyone, and welcome to an Off the Railsback edition of Monster Party.
Monster Party!
Monster Party!
It's stunt-like.
Oh my!
It's packed. It's creepy.
It's star-studded.
That's right.
Oh my gosh! And speaking of star-studded, who are you, sir?
I accept that. I am Matt Weinhold.
I am SHAWN Sheridan.
I'm Larry STROTHE.
And I'm James GONIS.
And for this episode, the topic of our episode is our guest. And I think, Sean, you should be the one to introduce this fabulous guest.
Why, thank you. I shall. Our guest is an award-winning actor. He's also a writer, producer, and director. His career has spanned decades from the 1970s to the present. He's worked with many Hollywood legends and famous filmmakers. He has played the hero, the villain, and the everyman. And whether it's a big budget spectacle or a small independent project, he is always fascinating to watch. And in particular, for Monster Party fans, he has been in numerous horror and sci-fi films. A lot of great, unique, and crazy movies that we here all love. Please give a hearty Monster Party welcome to Steve Railsback.
Steve Railsback! Our
Steve Railsback!
Our topic is Steve Railsback!
Welcome.
Thank you. I love being a topic.
And what a topic, man. We are so honored that you are here because it's like we've lived a life with you.
Yes.
You've been in so many films that we enjoy and love and go back to that it's just, it's almost surreal to have you here. So thank you so much for making some time for us.
Thank you for having me.
I mean, Steve, your career is just crazy. I mean, how did you start? How did you get into the acting world? How did you get bit by the acting bug? What's your story there?
Actually, I got bit when I was about 10 years old. I played, and this character does exist, I played the cousin of the prince in Cinderella. But I knew this is what I wanted to do. So I have 5 brothers. So I really wanted attention.
You know, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got on a plane when I was 20 years old and flew to New York.
Wow.
I'm one of the luckiest people that possibly ever lived. I just very fortunate. And I was in New York at a great time. I got there in 1967. And what a city. I love that city so much.
Yeah, and your training, the acting training that you got, I mean, definitely a student of the method.
Yeah, well, it's a system, but yeah, they can call it the method. Yeah, I studied with Lee Strasberg, and
wow,
I got into the studio in 1971, became a member.
And what was he like?
Lee?
Yeah.
He had a great eye. He had a really brilliant eye. Like if you're doing a scene at the studio, he had a microphone that came from the ceiling, you know.
Oh.
he would critique.
Right.
But so specific, just a brilliant eye. And just being at the studio, hanging out at the studio, it's a place that I always wanted to be a member of since I was 10 or 11. I mean, when I was actually accepted into the studio, I just started screaming and running down the streets. and I was crying. I mean, I was a member of the Actors Studio, and so many things happened, you know.
So your debut film was amazingly a movie directed by Elia Kazan called The Visitors.
Elia Kazan was my mentor.
Wow.
One of the most brilliant people I've ever known in my life. And we spent so much time together. And, you know, I had a really bad drinking problem at one point in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And Kazan wasn't going to let me go down that road.
Wow.
And he used a lot of tough love. I remember once I was going to meet him at a subway stop to help him move. He was moving offices.
Mm-hmm.
So I got on the subway. I'd been drinking all night. I got on the subway and he just said, "Get off." And I said, "Why? What? Get off. I don't need your help." Now, this
Wow.
really hurt me because this is coming from a man I idolized, you know,
Yeah,
Right, right.
yeah.
Her.
but he was not going to let me go down that road. I don't know how else to say it. And he was mean. He was passionate, but he saved my life.
Wow.
Wow.
The fact that the first film that you do is
Yeah.
directed by
Kazan,
Elia
yeah.
Kazan,
Yeah.
I mean, that is amazing. I'm sure it felt like it's like Willy Wonka. You got the golden ticket.
Right.
I couldn't believe it. You know, when he called and told me I had the part, it was like surreal. I don't know how else to say it. I mean, you know, when I first started the film, it was like I'm working with this true genius.
Yeah.
He never spoke in a generality because an actor can't act generalities.
No.
He can only act specifics. And he never spoke in a generality. And what I learned from him is just, oh, God Almighty, I miss him so much.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And A Face in the Crowd, one of my favorite films of his, is more relevant today than ever.
Absolutely. That was also
Yeah.
one of his favorite films that he ever did.
Oh, wow.
Face in the
Oh,
Crowd.
Yeah. No, I watch that like, every 4 months.
It's a brilliant, it's a great film. It's just a brilliant
Uh-huh.
film. He told me that was his favorite. He directed 19 or 20 films, but that was his.
So many classics.
Yeah.
So many. On the Waterfront,
Oh.
Car.
Oh, yeah.
I know. It's just, yeah.
I mean, it just goes on and on and on.
And so with The Visitors, not only were you working with Kazan, but was that his house that you were
That was on his farm. He had
on his farm? Okay.
He had a 170-acre farm that he bought in 1938
Jeez.
when he was doing a film with James Cagney called City of Conquest.
Oh,
And the
yeah.
money he had made, he put into this farm.
Wow.
And it's a beautiful place with a 14-acre lake. And yeah, we shot it there. God, what a time. We shot for 7 weeks on his farm. It was Jimmy Woods' first picture also.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
It was mine and his very first film. And if you don't learn something from watching Kazan work or whispering something in your ear, then you're just stupid.
Yeah.
Because
Right. Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
possible
Yeah.
if you don't learn.
And that film is so intense.
It's so uncomfortable and
Yeah.
I mean in a good way. It's so
Yes.
really it's very much a product of its time too. And
Groundbreaking. You got 2 Vietnam vets paying a visit to their supposed war buddy and his wife, and everyone has an agenda.
And what's interesting to me
Yeah.
is that movie is so raw and powerful. And later on, Brian De Palma made Casualties of War, which is loosely based on the same idea. And that was like the big budget splashy version, but The Visitors is a lot more real to me. It's just so
Yes.
Agreed.
it's so
Yeah.
bleak and so real.
It was actually based on a true story, an article that was in a magazine that Chris, who wrote the screenplay, his son, Chris Kazan, God, I miss him so much. Whew, what a lucky bastard I am. And Chris wrote the screenplay, but it was an article that I can't remember the magazine.
I think it was the New Yorker.
Was it the New Yorker?
Yeah.
I want to say it was the New Yorker. yeah.
Daniel Lang wrote the article.
Okay.
And it's not a very wordy screenplay. It's got a lot of quiet intensity. And your character, in particular, you're conveying so much scary intensity just with the expressions on your face. And then that ended up carrying on to some of your future roles as well. But
Yeah.
what a debut.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's not just scary. What I found really interesting about your performance was that it's scary. There's an intimidating quality to it, but there's also a mystery. There's like, well, why are you so mad?
Right.
What is this all about? And the way that you contain this cauldron in you and not give away too much. It's all very subtle. I just loved it.
I think Mike Nickerson was a conflicted character also.
Yes.
You know, I just remember Kazan, the first thing he said to me, whispered in my, because see, for Kazan, what he would do with every film he ever did was he would have you come into his office or wherever, and he'd talk to you for 3 hours. And the things that human beings can divulge to somebody that's asking him these things. When I left that office, he knew more about me than I knew about myself. So he did. And so the specifics of the performance came from him just whispering a word in my ear. And the first thing he said to me on the set was vigilance. Vigilance.
Hmm.
And that's such an important key, vigilance. Just to be aware of everything, sound, whatever.
And it does really seem that way too. When I'm watching you work in that film, your senses are just hyper aware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's true. And it came from that word vigilance, being aware of everything, every sound, every move. And it's so much a part of the character. It's who this character is.
And what I loved about the screenplay too is that everybody has these layers to a greater or lesser degree. There's no real necessarily like a good guy or a bad guy, maybe in certain situations, but
That's right.
but overall, that everybody's got this thing that they're struggling with, and putting all those characters together. And you've got Patrick McVeigh. God,
Right.
he's just like this like hurricane that comes through there.
Yeah.
Patrick's a good guy, good man. He was a good man. But it's the presence of Elia Kazan. It's the presence and what he gives. He's such an actor's director,
Right.
always. And as a matter of fact, Brando in any biography or autobiography, he always says, I've had 2 teachers in my life, in my career, 2 teachers. And he says, Stella Adler and Elia Kazan. Now, what he means by teacher is all the things that he learned just by being with Kazan on a set, talking and speaking, because you can't help it. The man's just, I'm so damn fortunate. I mean, my first film
Yeah.
Yeah. Really.
for this
Like
man.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And now this movie wasn't necessarily a hit.
No.
And
But
faced quite a bit of controversy. It did get a certain amount of good reviews. And it's groundbreaking for the fact that, correct me if I'm wrong here, but this is like one of the first films to deal really seriously with Vietnam and
It was.
soldiers coming back from the
Coming
war.
back to home.
That's right.
Yeah.
Remember, guys, the date on this was 1972, and we were still in action.
Still in it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we shot it in 71. It came out in February of 72.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's kind of become a cult thing. But, it dealt with things that sometimes made people uncomfortable.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's what Kazan wanted to do. I mean, he didn't tell me that, but I can tell you, he became like my father after that. And we take walks and we just talk.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Wow.
That's
I mean, we just
amazing.
talk. Yeah.
Not that I didn't love my dad, but
No.
if I
love
could
mine
have
too.
another dad that's Elia Kazan,
Kazan.
Yeah, really.
that would have been fun.
I
A
love my
timeshare
dad
thing.
too. Yeah.
Well, Steve, talk about making people uncomfortable. Not too long after that, you gave a very chilling performance in a mini TV series on television in 1976. The film was called Helter Skelter.
Yes.
And you played Charles Manson. And your performance is absolutely riveting. You scared the
God.
hell out of me.
Oh,
But
Wow.
rumor has it, if you could explain, your wife had mentioned that you were tricked into playing Manson. What's the story behind it?
Yeah. Well, I turned the part down.
You did.
I've done many stupid things, but nothing stupider than that. But anyway, I got a call. I'm at a friend's apartment here. I drove out here to just wanting to do Helter Skelter. And then all of a sudden, I don't know why. It was anyway. I get this call from Eileen, who was Kazan's secretary for years and years. And she said, Steve? I said, yeah. She said, this is Eileen. Listen, Mr. Kazan would like to talk to you. And I said, okay, yeah, put him on. And I just closed in a play on Broadway. So I called him EK. He asked me, I said, what should I call you? Second day on the set, I said, I know you don't like Gadge. Really? He said, well, you can call me asshole if you want. Just do it. And so I said, how about EK? So it was EK from then on.
Nice.
But he said, how you doing? I said, I'm doing fine. He said, so what you up to? I said, well, they want me to do this mini series on Charles Manson. And he goes, yeah. And I said, I don't know. I'm thinking about being typed. I don't know what. He said, it's a Hollywood term. And he said, well, who's directing it? I said, a man named Tom Grice. And he goes, Tom Grice? No, I don't know who that is. Wait, Tom Grice. Oh, Tom Grice. My God, if he's directing it, you've got to do it. You've got to do it. Wow. There's no way you can't do this thing. Call him, tell him you're doing it. Tom Grice is brilliant. She was, by the way. And so we hung up, and I called Tom. I said, I'm doing it. And about 5 weeks later, I'm on the set with Tommy, and we're sitting in two directors' chairs or whatever. And we're just talking. And he said, oh, did Kazan call you? And I said, yeah. He said, I've known that guy for 25 years. And I called him and said, would you talk this fucking kid into doing this? The whole thing was an act. Thank God for Kazan. He came back in my life.
Wow.
I didn't know that. Oh,
not only a good director, a good actor.
Yeah, really.
Tommy Grice was a great director, by the way. I love Tommy Grice.
But for listeners who aren't familiar, I mean, Helter Skelter is the book written by the attorney Bugliosi on the whole Manson thing and how that happened, and it was horrifying. And this book, it just details everything, and the miniseries is chilling. And your portrayal of Manson, I mean, it haunted. I had nightmares because of you.
Well, how old were you?
I mean, I was 10. So
well, your mother probably shouldn't have let you watch it.
I have to say this. I have seen real footage of Manson over the years, and then I rewatched Helter Skelter. And you are scarier than Manson.
People have said that.
And that's something. That's saying
yeah, that is something.
Yeah. The thing is, I read the book, obviously, how I prepared for Manson. I read the book, but there was also a documentary kind of thing that was done on Manson.
Yeah.
The trial.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched that about 10 or 11 times just so I could get how he walked, how he talked. And then I used my imagination, and what was going through my mind had nothing to do with Manson. When I make choices,
right,
good choices, personal, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it fit completely with what I had to do to bring him to life.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like the speech that I gave on the stand, what I was talking about, what I was thinking about. I mean, the words lent themselves to it, but I was talking or speaking to other people. It's hard to explain a choice.
You weren't talking necessarily to the people in the courtroom, but to someone else?
Oh, yeah. I was talking to two people in my life that tried to take my confidence away in New York.
Mm.
And it all came from actually seeing them and just talking to them. And telling them, you can't do this. You can't do this to people. And that's the incredible thing about what we do, what actors do.
Well, Steve, is it true? I've heard that to get yourself in the mood, to get like an isolated mood, you would go away in like a closet or something. Yeah. Is that true?
Yeah, well, yeah, but it came off like I did this every day and I was in closets. But that's not true.
That's a different movie.
Okay.
That's a different movie where you find Manson in the closet every week.
Yeah. Here on Monster Party, we want to get to the truth. So if it's like, I wasn't in the closet every day.
No, I was. I was in the closet sometimes, but it was just a theory I thought I had because Manson had been incarcerated or in juvenile detention or whatever, like 21 years of his life,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I just think isolation. So I get it in the closet and I just spend some time in there just trying to feel that isolation. I don't know if it worked or it didn't. I'm just saying I just tried it, because I wanted to.
Well, your performance on the screen, I guess it worked.
Yeah, I would say it worked. Yeah.
But also,
I'm telling you, it just jumps off the screen.
yeah.
Totally.
The style of that miniseries, though, it's like this police procedural, but it's done really from the lawyer's point of view, and it's the way that you're referenced all the time, and then because you appear in and out of the miniseries, but it's all kind of surrounding you, and so you're just this force, and it's just like I said, like disappearing into a role. It's just a perfect performance, and it really carries the miniseries, even though like you're not in it as much as some of the other actors, but you carried the film.
And I have to say that I've seen other Mansons, people play Manson in my life, and you are my favorite Manson. I'm sorry. Well, I hate
well, isn't that special?
Matt, that sounds really weird.
And by the way,
you're my favorite Manson.
Currently pitching a show called My Favorite Manson. So,
well, good. I hope you sell it.
All right. Yeah. So, hey, maybe I'll give you a call.
No,
But,
people have asked me, did I end up in a psychiatry ward and all this? I said, no, I had a ball. I had a blast. I'm 29 years old. I'm diving over tables,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So,
and I think it was up to that time the highest rated
it was
miniseries ever. I mean, I think not until Roots, but that was like the highest rated.
And it's surprisingly realistic for a TV vehicle.
Yeah, especially back then.
Yeah, it's surprising, and I think it still holds up. And
very well.
The fact that it's grim.
Matt, did you see
solid performances?
It does. People celebrate the 50th anniversary, like Rolling Stone did a whole story on me about the Manson. It was the 50th anniversary, or something like that. I can't remember.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not forgotten.
No.
I'm not jumping on saying how brilliant I am, because I'm not.
Go ahead.
But
you are.
no, I like to keep it real. But what I had was I made a specific choice.
Right.
Yeah.
Carried me through the whole thing.
Yeah.
I was on trial.
Yeah.
By these two people, and the whole thing I can't tell you. I didn't even have to think about it.
Is it true that most of that dialogue was from the transcript?
It was.
Wow.
It was. But as a matter of fact, we did that and it burst into applause. Peter Falk was on the set. So many people.
Wow.
But wait, it was great. But the thing was, it ended when I stand up. So I went over to Tommy Grice and he said, come on in the back. And so I went in the backstage, and he had his arms on my shoulder, like this. And I said, how was it? And Tommy said, it was brilliant. He said, but I can't use a foot of it. And I said, why? And he said, because Manson will get 100,000 more followers. And I said, well, the thing was, I said, Tommy, I don't know how else to do it. I just don't know how else to do it. And he looked at me and he just said, then it stays. And when they wanted to cut some of that speech, he wouldn't let them touch it.
Wow.
This is the same man who said he couldn't use a foot of it. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Well, and just going from that view of what he thought was the problem with your performance, I would have to say I watched that and I did not come away going, hey, that guy's making some good life choices.
No. I know, but I understand what Tommy was saying.
Yeah.
I was curious because you mentioned Tommy, and this was a big deal for him. I mean, he had done some Batman episodes. He was a TV guy, and this seemed
he'd also done a great miniseries with Tony Hopkins. Yeah.
Yes, but this was a big deal. But you enjoyed working with him. He was.
Oh, I loved working with Tommy. EK was so right about that. Tommy was just a special human being.
Steve, do you know if Manson himself ever got to see it? Did he ever weigh in on it?
No. Well, if you listen to read the National Enquirer, but no, I have no idea if he did or not, but the National Enquirer said that he was dragged from the TV room back to his cell, yelling and screaming.
Who is this Steve Railsback?
I'm going to kill him. No,
Oh my!
that's the National Enquirer. You know,
Sure,
I'm sure
right,
they're
yeah.
right. You know?
Always right. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they're exemplary. Yeah.
Paradigm of journalism. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, like you had,
Big journalism.
well, Steve, like you had mentioned when you were thinking of taking the part, the concern about being typecast. Is it true that after Helter Skelter, you passed on a lot of
I did
offers because they were all like serial killers and crazy people?
Right. But I turned it down. Well, thank God for EK. Whew, he saved my life quite a few times. And yeah, I was offered every killer in town, whether it's theatrical or television. Yeah.
Right.
But I turned them all down because I knew that if I did one or two, I'm done.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And I just wasn't interested, and
Right.
they sent me some real maniacs. Yeah.
Right.
Did they send you other famous serial killers to do?
No, hell, no. They sent me I even got offered an episodic to come and play some maniac. I got offered theatricals. I just didn't want to do it.
No,
I wasn't interested.
Well, it was probably a really smart idea. I mean, after the success of Helter Skelter, you did some other things, but you had mentioned diving off tables. Steve,
Diving over tables.
Yeah. In 1980, you did a film called The Stuntman.
Yeah.
And for listeners, if you haven't seen this film, I strongly suggest you see it, because you see Steve, at the very beginning, jumping over people, rolling down hills and doing a lot of
Yeah. You leapfrog over someone's head.
Steven, did the director say, "Hey, just jump over this guy," and you go, "Okay, I'm going to give it my all"? And what?
Well, I had a stunt double too, but
Did you really? But
You did a lot of. I could tell you did a lot of that yourself.
Oh, I
It
did.
looks
Most
like
of
there's
the
a
stuff
lot of
on
you
the
in
roof
that.
most of the stuff on the roof I did, but I also, what you don't see is
Really?
the stunt guys run along beside me, protecting me all the
Oh,
time.
wow. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
They're amazing people, stunt people.
for listeners, if you haven't seen the film, Steve plays a guy named Cameron. He's the main character he's not necessarily wrongly accused of something, but he's trying to hide out and gets himself caught in like a film that's being made. And he does this stunt stuff, and it's noticed by the director, beautifully played by Peter O'Toole. Fantastic actor. And
More than fantastic.
and it's like,
a legend.
So this director is just enamored with this guy. So they decide, let's put this guy also, because their stuntman died.
Yeah, he's taking advantage of it too.
So we're going
That's
to put
how
this guy in the film, and it's just phenomenal.
But like on surface, you could say, oh, this is just a straightforward action adventure kind of dark comedy, but it has this it's the surreal aspect of it, this existential aspect that makes it so unique. There's like a telling moment where Peter O'Toole, as the director, tells you, he like refers to you as Alice and says, welcome to Wonderland. And that's very much what the movie making world is like, the surreal landscape that you're thrown in, and you are Alice. And it's amazing.
That comes from the brilliance, and I mean brilliance, of Richard Rush.
Richard Rush was the director.
Yes.
Yes, he was, and he also wrote it.
Yes, he wrote it.
But just lost him.
Yes.
I miss him every day. And Peter says the same thing. You can listen to Peter talk about Richard. And Richard's camera makes that film too, Mario Tassi, a brilliant cinematographer who did Midway and all these great films, was a DP. And at the beginning, because back then you'd have to wait 4 or 5 days to get the rushes back.
Right.
And and he would be getting tired of Richard telling him where to put the camera, this and that. And, it was getting him a little bit angry. No, I love Mario Tassi, but it was getting him a little angry. And so about 4 days later from the first day of rushes came, and I was actually watching them. But I'll never forget, after the rushes were over, Mario walked up to Richard and said, "Richard, you just tell me where to put the camera."
Really?
Yeah, he did.
He was impressed. Wow.
Forget these things that were going on inside of me. You just tell me where to put it.
Yeah, he earned his trust.
Right, right.
Oh, this became like a family. I mean, and talk about Peter O'Toole.
Please. I mean, what was it like working with that guy? And did you guys go out afterward, and have these drinking binges? Or, I mean,
no, he had stopped drinking then.
At that point,
done that. Yeah,
okay.
he had stopped. Peter O'Toole. I'd never worked with anybody as gifted and as giving as Peter O'Toole.
Wow.
I mean, I had to up my game so high just to be on a level where we could communicate, know?
Yeah.
And we became friends. But I'll tell you some stories. But
please.
No, God, Peter O'Toole. He's when we lost Peter O'Toole, we lost one of the brilliant, most incredible performers that possibly ever lived. I mean, he was on a level.
He was good in everything.
Yeah,
everything. Everything. You look at Beckett. Look at Lion and Winter. Look at these.
My favorite year.
My favorite
year.
Sure.
The last film before this one.
Yeah,
right. That's right.
And then Lawrence of Arabia is.
They filmed that for 2 years.
Yes.
Lawrence of Arabia.
That's crazy.
How brilliant is he? That was his first major film.
Yeah.
Not only is he an amazing actor, but he's like charisma incarnate.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
In fact, he's so good. He almost saved the film Prometheus with that little clip of Lawrence of Arabia in that film.
That's true. We've often said that's the best part of the movie.
That's another story.
Steve, did he stick to the script or did he improvise?
No, he stuck to the script.
Okay.
Really?
Wow. I was just curious.
Seems
so fluid.
Because it seems
He's
so natural.
Fluid with those words. He loves words. No, he didn't go off. Didn't,
right? Okay,
but you felt like he was because he's so fluid.
Yeah,
but the whole movie has that kind of unhinged, like what's going to happen next feel to it.
Yeah,
I mean him literally descending on the crane all the time. It's like
that's right.
He's a god coming from the sky.
Yes, and it's like as the director, he's like the god complex.
Yeah,
he's the god director.
It's great. It's great.
And is it true that he based his performance on David Lean and a little bit of John Huston?
No, he actually based a little bit of it on Richard Rush.
Okay.
All right.
He said about Richard, he said, the most brilliant director I ever worked with since David Lean.
Wow.
That's great.
Yeah, Peter and I said to him once, because Arthur Penn was directing me in a play in New York, and wonderful director.
Oh, yeah.
And he said to me, one day we were just standing there, and he said, artist choice. And I kind of looked at him, and then I realized what he was saying. The choices we make up the art that we do. And I said that to Peter. I said, artist choice. And he said, yes, and choice is art. So we would actually, after a take, coming down from the crane, especially because we were both scared as hell when we got way up. But he'd get off and he'd go, a wardrobe, because that's where he kept his joints, his grass,
Right.
already rolled in his wardrobe.
His reefer?
Yeah, his reefer, whatever. He would keep that in there.
Did he Peter O'Toole?
No, a lot. So we'd run off. You know what a privilege this is? We would run off. I'd run it off with Peter O'Toole, and he'd grab a joint because he kept them in the wardrobe. So if they ever found it, this is 1979.
Sure.
Found it, he could just say, I don't know, it's in the wardrobe. But we'd run off and talk about this craft. We would talk about acting.
Wow.
We would talk about, and we would smoke this joint and just talk about all the different things that make up. It was just such a privilege to be
Wow, that's
talking
amazing.
with Peter O'Toole about.
That's a film in and of itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
That's like My Dinner with Andre.
I'll tell you
Yeah.
another great story. Is, Peter, we were in Sacramento, I think, and we were in a kind of a mini hotel, and his room was right next to mine. Oh, and they had ducks. In this pond.
Right.
We'd go to the balcony and see these ducks. And Peter would come in, or whatever, and every night at 1:00, I remember 1:00, he would start reciting Shakespeare to the ducks. They were his
Oh my
audience. No, they were his audience.
Oh
Wow.
my God.
And he was giving this. I'm listening to this brilliant man reciting
That's
Shakespeare
amazing.
with all his, and he would do it every night. And I stayed up every night just to listen to this man.
Wow.
Who wouldn't? Yeah.
That's incredible.
Now, Steve, much of the Stuntman was shot on location at the Hotel Coronado in San Diego.
Right.
8 weeks of
Famous
it were.
hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm watching it again recently and thinking, this is a functioning hotel. How did they, like, some of the hotels seem to get destroyed in the film? Like,
Well,
how,
they sure regretted it. Let's put it this way. No, we were there for 8 weeks. And the thing is, 1,000 people would come just to watch what was going on, on the
Right.
roof and
Sure.
watch stunt people and be there every day. You know,
Right.
like I said, I know they regretted it, but
So it's like a reflection of the movie where they want you guys to get out of the town as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
actually,
like that
do you
in real
remember where I fall and there's all these pigeons that come up?
Mm.
yeah.
Well, one of those pigeons, this is a fact, this is the truth, went into an older couple that had just moved in, just got in a room, and this pigeon went into their room and flew, and it must have scared the hell out of them. But they hated us being there because they didn't realize what they'd gotten themselves into.
Right.
Right. Right.
Some of those explosions were not done at the Coronado, obviously.
Right. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But God, what a time. They were happy to see us go. Because we still had 9 weeks of shooting to do all over different places.
All right.
And but then they made a museum out of it.
No, really?
Yeah. Years later, they had, because Some Like It Hot was filmed there.
Oh,
Right.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Stuntman was filmed there.
Hey,
So they
hey.
had this little museum for the two films.
Mhm.
One they really hated, which is Stuntman. I'm kidding. But they did do that.
And there's a parallel, really, because in both films, you've got characters who are hiding in the hotel as sort of fugitives.
It's
Right,
true.
Right. Right.
It is very similar in that way.
Hey, Steve, you mentioned that Richard was a brilliant director. I was curious as,
Brilliant
you know,
man.
some of the opening scenes with the helicopter seemed, at least to me, to be rather dangerous. Was this a guy,
Yes.
was this a director that was kind of ballsy? And this is in the, late 70s, getting to 19, just fly around. Or, I mean,
No,
did he take,
no,
did he
he was
take
not
risks?
like, he was actually a pilot himself.
Mhm.
Okay.
So he was very careful when he planned everything out, the
Oh
stunts.
yeah, and these are stunt pilots, like the
I know.
helicopter.
I know, Steve, but when
and-
you watch the film, it just makes me cringe. I go, that guy's like, is that helicopter's getting really close to the ground? I mean, and this is before, and for listeners, there's no CGI in this film.
Yeah.
No.
I miss those days where someone's flying around. Peter O'Toole's in an actual copter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
But also, there wasn't anybody, pilots, anybody, or any actor that didn't trust Richard.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So
That's cool.
it's so easy to be free. The thing about Richard is you could dive off of cliffs. You could, in other words, take risks. Take a risk. God, what a great thing to be able to do. Take a risk. And you knew that he was going to be there with a net to catch you.
Right.
Yeah.
So everybody was diving off cliffs. We were diving. We were taking wonderful risks. Oh, God, I miss that man. I could call Richard. And if I'm going through something personal, or if I just want to talk to him about, he'd always say, come on up. Come
Nice.
on up. And I had this brilliant mind who would always set me straight or incredible advice or whatever. He was always there.
Also, I'd like to mention that one of my very favorite film scores of all time by Dominic Frontiere, the Stuntman, Oscar nominated. It's got this great sort of circusy, it evokes this carnival atmosphere to it. And it's just fun. The chase music's amazing. Love that score.
Dominic and Richard go back a long way because he did the music to Freebie and the Bean. He did the music to Getting Straight. But this was different in the sense that Richard also, and so did Dominic, want to go against it, make it that circusy kind of thing, because that's what the film, in a sense, part of it is,
Yeah, very much.
Dominic, God, what an incredible composer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of television and film. Yeah, he was marvelous.
He did a few of Richard's films, but they had a working relationship. So they could talk and they could communicate and they would both know what each other was talking about, what each one is saying. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the Stuntman, when that came out too, that wasn't necessarily a big hit either, though, right? At first.
But ended up being Oscar nominated.
Right.
Yeah. Also, to this day, it's still ranked as one of the best films ever made.
Yeah. Yeah.
You look. No, I'm serious. It's in most people's top 50 list.
Yeah.
And people don't stop talking about it. You mention the Stuntman, people go, oh, I remember that. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not forgotten. It's not a film that you just did and then nobody can remember the title.
Right.
Bullshit.
A really unique film.
I think that's why I think
special.
at the time people didn't know it was so different and so unique that it took a while for people to realize,
And witty.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
Once they got it, when the reviews started coming out, Pauline Kael, who can really be tough,
Right. Yeah.
just raved about the cinematic brilliance of this film. The reviews is what took it away because 20th, fuck them, 20th.
Right.
They didn't get it.
Yeah.
Well, not them, but was it? We used to call him douchebag. What was his name?
Executives? You mean like Zanuck or
the Suits?
No, this guy. He produced like I'm not making this up. What's that film about the pigs? Piggy.
He
he did those two films.
Babe?
No.
You're talking about the kids on the island.
I don't know. It's just a terrible piece of crap. And this is what this guy did. And we called it EB. And God, he was the one trying to kill the film. He would walk it down at screenings and go like this, and because this idiot didn't get it,
Right.
And if I could think of his name, I'd say it. But he wasn't a producer on Stuntman. No, he was somebody at 20th.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
He was like an executive. He was an executive. Okay.
Well, if you want to call him that, yeah.
He was a suit.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
Okay.
this guy was worse than a suit.
Well, Steve, look, I don't want you to bag on this executive
I
guy.
do.
I mean, look, but
No,
you've mentioned
I want to.
Okay, well, I see, but you see, you talk about Peter O'Toole, you talk about Richard. What about the beautiful Barbara Hershey? What about
Barbara was great. I just saw her the other day.
Yeah, she's really
was
good.
wonderful.
You guys are really good today. You guys have good chemistry in that film too.
And it's really believable, like the two, you coming from your world,
yes,
and then her and her world, and those worlds colliding. You're doing this little dance all the way through the movie. Just wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Barbara's wonderful. She's a terrific actress, and she was great. One quick thing about this guy was trying to kill the film, and then we sneaked it in Seattle. And the reviews were raves. Now, we already had these brilliant reviews, and it ended up playing there for a year.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah, and this guy, this scumbag, was saying that Seattle is not a screening town or something. Just
What?
Right.
Yeah. No, this guy's a real scumbag. He's a douchebag. He's a scumbag. He give any name you can think of. This guy was it. And I wish I could think of the Piggy movie because they're awful.
See now,
Wow.
Is it like a Razorback, like a killer? Like, I'm trying to think of what this movie could be.
God, I just can't remember. You know, this guy was tried so hard, and then it became a classic.
Well,
Right.
you see, no one can remember his name, but we all know your name.
That's true. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And the
And
Stuntman.
Richard Rush
Right.
Indeed.
Yeah.
and
Well,
Peter
yeah.
O'Toole.
And also, you got to work with your brother in the
Yes.
film.
My brother Mike.
That's
Yes, I
pretty
did.
neat.
Yeah, he was working on the film on the crew, and Richard said, "You know this scene where he kicks me out of the Duesenberg?
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's my brother."
No way!
Wow.
I didn't know that was your brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my
Oh.
brother Mike, and Richard wanted him to play it. You know, we lost Mike too, so
Oh.
Sorry. Yeah.
but Mike was great. He was a class man.
Well, you have a lot of fond memories of the Stuntman, and
Yeah.
Stuntman is just a terrific
It really
film.
is.
Yes, it
It's
is.
the
It's
kind of
great.
timeless movie that you can just kind of still holds up
It
completely
does.
today. Yeah.
Yep.
It does, and that's because of the remarkable people that were
Yeah,
a part of
yeah.
it, and
Mm.
gave us the opportunity to be a part of history in a way.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
Richard did. And do you know the story about how Richard got to Peter? Richard,
No,
No.
please.
somebody invited me to this big party. They said, you should come, Richard. Peter O'Toole's going to be there. So Richard said, I will be there. So he put the script in the car and everything else. And then he got there and decided, no, it's just not right me bringing a screenplay into that. So they're in there, they're talking, and Peter's talking to a lot of people. Peter be the one at parties. He'd start doing somersaults when he got bored.
Wow.
Yeah, he would. I'll pull a curtain and come out. He'd just do crazy things. But so anyway, he left. And his wife at the time, Peter's wife was Sean.
John Phillips.
Yes, that was his wife. But she said to him, she said, you know, that man who was just here, he directed Freebie and the Bean, one of Richard's favorite films. He liked the blood or something. I don't remember, but it really was. So Peter went running after Richard
Wow.
and got to the car where Richard was getting in and said, you directed Freebie and the Bean? You know, and he said, yeah. He said, I love that film. I love it. And so Richard said, well, I've got a script for you. And he pulled the script out of his front seat and gave it to him.
Wow.
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 And
See, if I do that, I get asked to leave.
no, they were outside where the cars are parked. Yeah, but I would too. But 3 weeks later, Peter sent him a note saying, if you don't hire me to play Eli Cross, I will kill you.
It's impossible to imagine anybody else in that
That's
role.
true.
Oh,
Absolutely.
No.
Yeah.
And the rest is,
History.
Wow.
yeah.
That's incredible.
Now, since this is a show that celebrates sci-fi and horror, we must talk about a huge Monster Party favorite, Life Force.
Okay.
Yes.
Indeed.
We love Life Force. And I know
Yeah.
there are some differing opinions about the film. I think
There
it's
is.
really great. And
It gets better every time I see it. to be
every
honest.
time I watch it, I think it's better. I love Tobe Hooper.
Yes, we all
Came
do.
out in
No, no, no.
1985. It's about some astronauts who discover a derelict spaceship that contains 3 apparently humanoid survivors, 2 male, 1 female, all naked, all space vampires. It's based on a book unsurprisingly titled The Space Vampires by Colin Wilson. And I know he had some trouble, but authors have a tendency to not always like the film that their books are based out of,
I don't
as
know,
we
but-
know, you know.
Yeah.
But I remember going to see it in the theater and thinking, first of all, just the world that film creates is so interesting and beautiful, and so many good actors in the movie.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of like a perfect pulp sci-fi adventure film, you know? It
Absolutely.
really works on that level.
Toby was a friend of mine before because Marilyn Burns was in
Helter Skelter.
Helter Skelter.
Right.
Yeah, right.
He was obviously very close to Marilyn, so he would come out to the set
Oh, wow.
where we were shooting, and we became friends
That's awesome.
during that time. And so when I was off at this film, and Tobe asked me to do it, I immediately said, "Yeah, I want to do it." I'd never done a sci-fi at that time, so we shot that film for 6 months in London.
Wow.
Because we would sometimes just get one shot off a day, especially the stuff on the wires and all that, all that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and the spaceship. Yeah.
Boy,
So
there must have been a lot of footage of Mathilda May just on the cutting room floor or something.
She was pretty classy,
Was she?
And, everybody treated everybody with respect.
I'm sure.
That's
sure.
good.
Yeah.
That's the way it should be.
And I heard that she was really a pro. Like she just, whatever she was asked to do, she didn't complain, that she would just
She
do
was
what
a pro.
Yeah.
She was an absolute pro. And everybody there were professional back, because I couldn't deal with somebody that wasn't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sure.
But everybody on the cast and crew, respect. And I can remember on those wires, I'd be in a harness, and it had me way up high.
Yeah.
And the harness would start to dig into me, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah.
And I remember there was one time I was up there for like an hour. And the thing is, when you're doing a blue line,
screen,
you have to be exact up there too. And if you cross it, you have to start all over, because you can't. It'll be a double image or something.
Right.
So I was up there for like an hour or something, and boy, it was digging in me and hurting, man.
Oof.
Right in the middle of the leg, buddy. And and I yelled down. I said, "Tobe!" He said, "What?" I said, "Get me down from up here. I hurt." So he brought me down, but we had a lot of fun making it. Then the special effects, it was just amazing what they would do with the miniatures and
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, this was
London.
because this was a kind of a golden era where it was Canon Films were I think Tobe at the time had this 3-picture deal, whatever he had.
Yeah.
To make, he had good sized budgets to make these movies.
Yeah, but not like this. This was a
this was like a
30 something million. Yeah, and it was the biggest budgeted film they'd ever done. Canon,
right.
And TriStar released it.
There are times when I'm watching that film and I watch you and I'm watching Mathilda May, and I don't want to dwell on this or anything, but
Patrick Stewart.
And Patrick Stewart. Oh, it's
absolutely, man. Don't forget Patrick.
Oh, well, and I'm sure you don't either, because didn't you give him his first on-screen kiss?
That's right. And he told that story on the Tonight Show. They asked him, "What was your first on-screen kiss?" And he said, "Was Steve Railsback."
Now, of course, the next question has to be, is he a good kisser?
Well, I'm sure he was.
You were in character.
We're also the floor would actually start turning, so that wind.
Right.
We were actually spinning.
Oh, so that to make the wind floor look like it was whipping around.
Ah, okay.
The floor itself was, they'd push a button or whatever they would do. They were just brilliant. They were just brilliant, these guys. And he got that kiss in, man. I think the world, Patrick Stewart. I really do.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, whatever happened to that guy?
I don't know. I've been asking the same question to myself.
He did that film, then he disappeared.
Yeah.
My God, he was.
He had promise.
He was pretty good too.
I think we all know he went on into the far reaches of the galaxy.
Had to ruin it. Okay,
but also
look, I don't want our listeners to get confused.
Yeah, they're all. So. Yeah, only you get confused.
But also, Stewart is just all class.
Yeah,
LifeForce. LifeForce has that British cast too. I mean, you got so many great Frank Finlay, and Aubrey Morris, Peter Firth. Yeah, it's got the great British kind of angle to it too, which really makes it stick out.
And seeing that as a kid, now sure, I was kind of, I was impressed, let's just say, with
Absolutely.
You were more than impressed. Come on.
Mathilda May walks on there, and I almost choke. Like, oh my God! I did not know life could be this good.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to see this film again.
Yeah, I need to see it. But
Matt's all, I want to go to the Mathilda May movie.
Yeah. The film festival. But I remember watching it, and then once you get over that she's walking around naked, then what happened to me, and this is as a kid who's like kind of in his puberty days, I got to a place where I was like, well, this is just creepy.
Yeah, but I want to see it again anyway.
Yeah, well, and then the other thing I was thinking was that there's Steve Railsback. Wow, isn't it great to be an actor?
Right.
Well, sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Well, Matt, didn't that film though, when you're watching it, you're saying to yourself, it's like, ooh, sex, oh, taboo kind of thing. And it's like, well, if I'm gonna have the life sucked out of me, why not?
Might as well be from Mathilda May.
But that's the thing, because
go ahead, check it out.
That's the nature of that. But it actually makes sense in that movie, because if she's supposed to have this hypnotic, appeal to males,
bodies.
So,
So
that's
the lore.
It works. Yeah. So the casting is perfect.
It's perfect
for that. Yeah. But it's a really fun film, and the effects hold up really well too for then. I mean, it's
I'm telling you, the design of that movie all across the board, I think, is brilliant.
All the practical effects of the creatures are great.
And James, the music.
Henry Mancini.
Henry Mancini.
Where else did you go from there?
Rousing score. Yeah.
Yeah. The main title. It's also a film for, you look at a lot of movies that were made in the 80s, especially the mid 80s, and they look like they were made, you get the neon, you get the weird hair. This movie doesn't have the trappings of looking like a mid 80s movie.
It doesn't.
That's true. You're right.
That's a very good point.
The British thing has something to do with that too, but you're right. Yeah.
Timeless.
So, Steve was working with Tobe. Was he like a real technical director, or did he relate to you guys really well, or what was he like to work with?
He was great to work with. Like I said, I was fortunate enough to have known him before, but no, he was great to work with. But I'll tell you something: the man knows his stuff. I mean, he technically and he has a vision.
Mm-hmm.
I have nothing but respect for Tobe Hooper.
Well, I think because, of the films that he had done in the past, when this film came out, it was such a big budget film. And I think the critics came down on him pretty hard. And I'm not sure it was.
That was crazy to me.
I agree. I think they were somehow strangely threatened by it. It made them feel uncomfortable. And so that's what they responded to. But that's good filmmaking, is when
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely it is. I was just thinking about Patrick.
And that kiss. Yes.
No, that kiss. In fact, I mean, I can't tell you. I kept following him everywhere.
You never forget your first.
I remember Peter O'Toole was on the stage doing Pygmalion, and Patrick and I went.
Oh wow!
And I got to introduce him to Peter.
Oh wow! Cool.
Yeah.
And he took us out to dinner.
Nice.
Again, a great dinner.
Yeah. Patrick is just I don't know how to explain him except to say he's just a wonderful human being and a very gifted human being.
Yeah.
Totally.
We're all, of course, giant fans. We love Star Trek, but I mean, everything else that he's done throughout his career, he's another one of those actors who I always enjoy him no matter what the role.
Absolutely. You can't help it, but it comes from who he is as a man. Who he is as an actor, who he is, period.
Well, Steve, LifeForce was terrific, but Matt kind of jumped ahead. I was going to say, in 82, which was the magical year of 82, you had so many great films come out at that time. You had Blade Runner and Poltergeist and The Thing, and you did a series of films that came out in 82. You did Deadly Games, Turkey Shoot, and Trick or Treats.
Turkey Shoot.
I think also I did Torchlight, didn't I?
And Torchlight, yes.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So you were like really busy during that time leading up to LifeForce.
And I do really enjoy Turkey Shoot.
It's a lot of fun.
Yes.
Well, good.
Yeah.
It's
I know that it
crazy
must have been
exploitation,
difficult to
but
work
it's-
on.
Yeah.
And if I remember
Yeah,
correctly,
Olivia Hussey. I've done 3 pictures with Olivia. I love that lady very much.
Yeah.
Did she have a good time in that movie? I couldn't
I know,
tell
from what
watching
I've
the movie.
read,
wait,
She's
Sean.
not.
Yeah.
Sean, can you tell listeners what Turkey Shoot from 1982 is about?
It's also known as Escape 2000.
Mhm.
And it's kind of like a bit of a sci-fi updating of the Most Dangerous Game in a way. It's a totalitarian society, and all the people they don't want, they put on this island, and it's basically this brutal kind of game where they
Which is really, it was before the Twilight, same idea, going around hunting.
oh yeah,
Oh, like
Hunger
I'd like to
Games,
think
yeah.
they stole
Yeah.
that idea. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
yeah. But that is before
I'm
that. You're
kidding.
right.
Yeah.
But it's Australian production, and it's Michael Craig, Roger Ward. It's a brutal movie, but it's brutal in a kind of cartoonish way. It's kind of crazy drive-in entertainment, which I really enjoy.
But very entertaining.
Yeah.
And again, really good performances all around.
Yeah. I will tell you a quick story, though. There was a pond that they were setting some dynamite or something. And anyway, there was this huge explosion. And Brian, the director, but anyway, right. And I came out of my trailer and I just said, what the hell was that? And I go over and Brian says, we were just making sure there was no alligators in there. Just as a matter of fact as that. So
oh my God.
we exploded dynamite in there. Now, Olivia was there and she came out and I said, it's okay, Olivia, I'm going to take care of this. So Brian said, well, why don't you get in and test the water? I said, no, I'm not. We're not, meaning Olivia and I are not getting in that water until you get in that water.
Yeah.
Right.
So Brian had to strip down to a skivvy. He didn't want to do it, which made me even more scared.
Yeah, really.
And he got down to his skivvies and he finally went in the water because I don't know if that would have scared you blowing up the alligator.
Yeah. Well, I'd be afraid if an alligator was like hiding someplace.
Well, right.
I would have made them.
It's a zombie alligator. You know?
I would have insisted another round of dynamite.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess from what I've read, I guess she was not so crazy about all the critters in the area. Olivia.
The critters meaning different animals?
Yeah, like different creatures all over the place. Because,
well, there are in Australia. They have them.
Yeah, they're all over the place.
I've been there a few times. It's one of the few places I could actually move to and live, by the way.
Oh, really?
It's so much creativity and so much.
You don't mind the critters.
No. But I understand what she's talking about because there's things they claim if it bites you, you'll die within 20 seconds.
Right.
Yeah, really.
So they got you going because you don't know if it's true or not. And it's actually true. Right. I mean, they have little bugs that'll kill you. They have if you go to Bondi Beach, they've got a huge fencing around it so the sharks don't get in because they'll drag you off the beach. I'm not making this up. So they put this net in there so the sharks can't come and get you because it was a time in Australia when they would come on the beach and grab you or a kid. And there's such amazing stories. Yeah, no, I understand exactly what Olivia's talking about. But I mean, you just didn't want anything to bite you, you know?
No.
But that seemed like a fairly physically grueling shoot as well, though, to me.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of running.
Yes.
A lot of running. Yeah. Back then I could run. I can't run anymore.
You know, I'm trying to imagine the pitch session where the producer goes, look, we're going to make it for half the price because we're doing it in Australia. Sure, we got to put a net to keep the sharks away. And there are critters.
They had this net before we got there.
Okay. Okay. But it's like we can get it at half the cost. You know, it sounds like a Roger Corman film.
Okay. Oh, well. Well, now, speaking of which,
Roger Corman,
you have worked with Roger Corman a number of times. How was working with Roger?
It was fine for me. You know, I did a film. They offered me this film, which was actually terrific. And plus we could ad lib. We took this story and put a lot of laughs into it. And we just make up this shit. But I'd always run it by, and the director and I'd run it by, and it wouldn't come out of nowhere.
Okay.
It was called Quake.
Ah.
Okay.
And I had probably more laughs on that set than I had on any other set in my life, because that's what they wanted. That was such a freeing experience. And anyway, we did this film, and then Roger and Mike Elliott asked me to direct the film.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
And,
the Spy Within, right?
Yeah, it was actually called Flight of the Dove, but you know these people.
That's right. Yeah.
But the thing was, the most incredible thing about, if I wasn't in this business, I wouldn't know some of the most incredible people I've ever been privileged to be around. So when I cast it, I got Scott Glenn came in and did the lead.
Yeah.
For nothing close to what he got. He just wanted to be there for me. Teresa Russell, who I knew since she was 18, she just wanted to be there for me.
Wow.
Joey Pants just all these people wanted to be there for me because they wanted, it was my first thing. And you know what that means to me? That's what I mean by I wouldn't know some of the most incredible people ever. They came for me.
Now, this was because this was like a New Concord 90s production. This is when Roger was executive producing a lot of these, like a spy action film. I mean, so you were basically working for Roger's company.
Yeah.
How was that? Because I know he's known for his tight shoots and low budgets, but how was it to be directing for him?
Well, I had a pretty good budget. I mean, so many people came in for scale. My God.
Right.
Alex Rocco, Lane Smith, everybody, to have people that want to be there for you means means so much. Rudy Ramos.
But Steve, we recently had Adam Simon on, who had directed Carnosaur, and he told us some stories about working for Corman. Was there ever a thing about, well, you need to move a little faster here, or we only have so much money?
Yeah, the budget's a little different all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I mean, did you have, as the director of this, did you have any of those conversations? Or
no, they wouldn't have been with Roger anyway. They were with Mike Elliott.
Okay.
Right.
As a producer,
Mm-hmm.
but. No, we had a lot of locations. Mm-hmm. We had 1.6 million.
Wow.
It's not bad for 90s. Yeah.
Well, you said that Carmen was good to you. So giving you this opportunity, at least, that was great for you. And he was.
Of course it was. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You bet.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I had a great time. It was 1994 when I did that film with some of the greatest, most incredible people.
And I think is that same year, around that same time, he did a 2-part episode of The X-Files, which is two of the most well-known and kind of a pivotal 2 episodes in the whole arc of the series.
Like a real plot point.
Yeah, like this is like maybe the 2nd or 3rd season of the show. But Dwayne Barry and Ascension. Yeah,
Chris wanted to, he told me he wanted to go a different place to bring the show into a different kind of thing. But I remember I was editing The Spy Within, and I was offered this.
Oh, wow.
And I remember thinking, boy, you could make 2 movies out of it.
Right, yeah.
Brilliant writing.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do it because I was editing. And I was in the editing room, and I got a call from Chris, and he said, writing this out, I had nobody else in mind but you. And if you don't do it, I don't know what I'm going to do. Now, nobody ever said that to me.
Wow.
Ever. And I said, then I'm there. And I closed down shop and went to Vancouver and had a great time. And
it was his first time directing, too.
Yeah, just a great man. And David and I had such an incredible time because, that bus depot, it was like being on a stage, a small off-Broadway stage or something. And the working off of each other was just great fun. David's a wonderful actor. Yeah. And Chris is a wonderful director.
It's very intense too. Like there's lots of alien abduction type movies or shows, but your flashbacks or your experience of going through that is really harrowing. It's a television too. So it's, it was just very intense and very scary.
Yeah. And you bringing the human face to that whole ordeal. And I remember there's a scene where there's this hostage standoff, and you have one of the hostages, and the hostage says to you, "I believe you." And I remember thinking the same thing, like, I believe you too.
Right.
Well, the fact is, I was telling the truth.
Right.
I mean, that's
right.
Yeah.
But working with David and working with Chris
and Gillian Anderson.
Yeah, and this in part 2. Yeah.
Right.
She was actually pregnant for real.
Yeah. I could see how they shot around her.
Way to work it into the story there.
Yeah, but it's interesting that something that was, I don't want to say, I don't know if it was accidental or whatever, but it wasn't planned into the show Bible, but they had to deal with it, and the way that they dealt with it, I think, was really successful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, no, it was, and she was very kind too.
It's a great 2-part episode. It's really, like I said,
it's two of the best of the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you. I had a lot of help.
You've definitely worked with some very talented, gifted actors, and you've also worked with some beautiful bombshells, like Pamela Anderson in Barbed Wire from 1996.
Another amazing cast, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Xander Berkeley, Udo Kier, Clint Howard, and that movie looks fantastic. I mean, Pamela looks fantastic, but the movie looks good too. It's a really slick. It's a good comic book film.
And Xander and I were friends before we ever did this. I just love Xander. Xander's a wonderful man, a wonderful actor.
Watching it again recently, I have to say, now, do I think Pamela Anderson is the most compelling actress of our age? No.
But she acquits herself fine, I think.
But what I will say, though, is that it is a pretty tight action movie.
It is.
And I think that you are great in it. You are a scary villain who, once again, it's, it shakes me in my boots. I'm like, this guy's bad news. And I love that. And I love the whole fight at the end.
Yeah.
On the train or whatever.
Yeah. The torture scenes it's
amazing, aren't they?
I love them. a very unique torture, I have to say, that device.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, Matt, one of my issues was I thought maybe it was because they were paying too much attention to her hair, I want to know if maybe James had any insight into that.
Why is James now the hair guy? Or
well, he knows a lot about Playmates.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes.
No, I might have been at Playboy at the time, but I did not have any involvement. I can't say, unfortunately, in that.
Oh, great!
project.
Thank you.
Sorry. But Steve, I would like to talk just for a second about a film you did in
1991
with Frank DeFelitta directing, the author. Who directed
with Sharon,
with Sharon Stone, called Scissors.
Yes,
Sharon Stone is another class act, by the way.
And this was in between Total Recall and Basic Instinct, where in those films she was like a femme fatale, but in this film she was more of a victim.
Yeah,
and you played a dual role as identical twin brothers.
Yeah,
really
at a time. Amazing. And also at a time when technically, I think the technology was just coming about where you could do that digitally. But in your case, I kept thinking like, well, you've got very different personalities, very different hairstyles. So these parts must have been filmed like far enough apart where your hair could grow, right? There's also a fight scene where you've got yourself in a hammerlock. in a headlock.
Well, twins do fight,
technically it's flawless. Like, how did they do that in 1991? That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember that fight scene, but I can't remember how they did it. Probably 2 separate shots. Probably I don't know.
Composite, because it's really pretty.
It does look really good.
Yeah. And the film itself is fun.
I think it's a pretty clever thriller.
Yeah,
it is.
And the ending is genuinely surprising.
Yeah.
And I think Sharon Stone is great in it.
She is.
She's a class lady. She is.
And then Ronnie Cox, come on.
Yeah. Ronnie Cox, he always wanted to just play cards and take my money. Yeah, he's a hell of a gambler.
What I love though about that film is to see you playing the dual role, and it's like the type of scary character that you've played in some other roles juxtaposed to the nice guy, and seeing how clearly you're capable of playing those roles opposite each other and really making them two unique characters.
Right.
I hope so. It was fun making it, and a great cast.
It must have been challenging playing a dual role with such different personalities.
What's your approach to tackling something like that?
I don't know. I had probably two different choices for each one, but what are those shows called? The ones that come on in the afternoon?
Soap opera.
Yeah, he was a soap opera actor.
Right.
The one that was straight.
Right.
Yeah. I probably wish I'd done more with the bad brother.
He's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
No, I know, but
he's super creepy.
I could have made him deeper.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I really enjoyed making that. I enjoyed working with Sharon.
It's a fun movie. It's like a giallo in a way.
Yeah. Like an Italian thriller. It's true.
Yeah.
You start off your career really kind of hitting the scene hard with Manson. And then years later, you make a film about Ed Gein.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very proud of that film.
2000.
I think it's great. And there was a movie called Deranged way back in what is it, Sean, like the 70s?
Yeah, mid-70s, yeah.
Yeah, and that was the only other film that I had seen about Ed Gein, and it's loosely based.
The most closely. I mean, yeah, because we know that everything from Psycho to Texas Chainsaw to Silence of the Lambs, some elements.
But took a lot of licensing.
Yes.
Whereas this is Ed Gein. And your performance, what I think is intriguing about it is how you are able to add that element of fragility and sensitivity to him, knowing that this is the guy who's done these heinous crimes, and you just can't help but feel sorry for him.
I know. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I never judge a character, but I'll tell you that was brought to me actually as a slasher film. And really? I said, no, I'm not interested. So I turned it down. I said, but if you want to do a character study, then I'm interested. And they said, okay. And they started writing this whole different thing, real character study of somebody. I was interested in that. It's and he's the total opposite of Manson. You got two opposites.
Right. Absolutely.
And so the rewrites kept going. We shot the 9th draft of the character study.
Wow.
And I did so much research on him, not just on him, but on the schizophrenia and all that he had. I have books on DSM-3. I wanted to know everything. I remember they always referred in the books or in whatever as his sly smile. Sly smile.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And I had to find out what was he. Did he know he was doing it? But did he? Whatever. And I just kept researching, and there was a certain kind of schizophrenia, and they give you all the thing about the schizophrenia, and then they give you characteristics. And it was like midnight in my home, and I remember one characteristic, 2 characteristics, and number 3 said a sly smile. It was like hitting gold.
Wow. Yeah.
Because I knew he didn't know he was even doing it. It was like hitting. I screamed. I woke up the house because it was like a gem. Those little tiny gems.
Yeah.
Tiny details like that are so important.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I know that many drafts of the script was part of your involvement with that, because then you were an executive producer on that too. Yeah. So that have something to do with it. You wanted to make sure you had
I wanted
some
to make
control.
Sure it was truth.
Right.
It wasn't made up stuff.
Right.
I just wanted to do a character study. It was simple as that. I wanted to do a character study. I wasn't interested in the killings or,
that's true. That's the power of that movie, is that they don't dwell on any kind of gore or anything. There are flashes of things that you see that are horrifying, but it's not that kind of movie. And it's obviously, it's a low budget movie, but it is such a stark, pure kind of character study.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
All of it feels absolutely genuine.
Carrie Snodgrass also.
Carrie,
fantastic.
Yeah.
we lost her.
Yeah.
Well, what a wonderful actress she was. We'd been friends for a long time.
Oh, wow.
And they said, who should we get for John? I said, Carrie Snodgrass. And they did. Thank God. Because she's brilliant.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah. I'm very proud of that film. I'm just proud of it for what it was.
I didn't actually know that much about Ed Gein before seeing it. And it made me want to read up on him after the fact. And I saw how historically accurate the film was. But my biggest takeaway was probably how could this have happened? And the way it's dramatized and the way you play him, he's this local, kind of unassuming, kind of good-natured character, and not somebody that you'd think would be capable of these things.
Right.
And that's kind of how he got away with it.
Yeah. When he's like literally
Absolutely.
joking about that literally saying that he has the bodies in his house, and there's Ed.
In the
You know,
bar.
Yeah, right.
like, yeah.
When the film came out, again, it's another example of some people being really harsh, thinking that it's kind of glorifying. But you know, I don't think so.
I wasn't trying to. Nobody's trying to glorify it.
But
Yeah.
I understand some of the people that are criticizing and going, "Oh, it's," you know. Sometimes you can wonder if they've even seen the whole thing. It's actually kind of sad.
It's very sad. It's an absolute tragedy.
Also, the little thing at the very end where you're talking kind of to the viewer in a way, or the camera, or your incarcerators, is also just fantastic. It kind of is a perfect capper where this is like this real guy that, you know, you're just inside his head, and it's like, oh, okay, like
Absolutely.
Yeah, such outlandishly crazy and insane things he did, and yet still can come across as a real human being, you know.
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
misunderstood and screwed up.
All I
and,
wanted to do.
yeah, that's really it's really good.
Considering your friendship with Tobe Hooper, did you ever hear his take on it, considering Texas Chainsaw?
No, I didn't. But I did come home, and he had left a message. Remember the message machines?
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
All those years ago. No. He had left a message saying he was very proud of what I did, and again, I brought him to life, or whatever. He was very happy with it.
That's wonderful.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the guy who I think he had Ed in mind.
Oh yes, Texas Chainsaw.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Ed didn't wear a mask, and he didn't have a chainsaw because he didn't have electricity like that. I'm kidding. I used to kid. I kid him about that. But
That movie, the Texas Chainsaw movie, is a work of genius. I think it's
oh yeah, you know where he
brutal
came
and
up with that
visceral
idea.
and scary. No,
He told me he came up with the idea. He was in a chainsaw place or a
like the hardware store.
a hardware store.
Yeah.
And he just got this idea. I'm not sure if he had Ed Gein on his mind at that moment, but whatever he did, he made a wonderful film.
yeah. And the sound of the chainsaw is almost like the music for the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely it is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It is. It's an amazing film. You know, some people have issues with the ending, but you know, it's still a really great film. I'm just hey, you know, I don't want to
scary, and that's what
the ending. The ending.
It's brutal and scary.
Where does the girl go, Matt? Where does she go?
So
she's in a
Steve,
truck. Whoa!
No, Larry,
Steve.
she goes off to do Helter Skelter. That's what she does.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, she got to work.
I'm Steve. Steve, you have nothing to do with this.
Well, you brought it up.
But Steve, you know,
Larry likes movies where at the end it's all nicely tied up in a little bow, and we see her 20 years later, and now she's fine and working at a daycare center.
And she's doing this movie called Helter Skelter.
And all of a sudden she's doing Helter Skelter. Things worked out.
Things did, you know?
Yeah,
that's right.
Okay.
All
right.
But you know, it's cool though, Steve, that like you said, after Helter Skelter, you got all these like slasher type, you know, offers. But it took that by the time Ed Gein came around, you were able to really change that to make it something that much more than that.
Because you've done every type of film, every type of character.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. It's, Ed Gein actually did very well at the box office in all over Europe.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
It's the movie that for me, as someone who was interested in that story, that case, I've been wanting to see that movie for years. I want to know really about Ed Gein. I already know about the murders. I want to know.
Right.
Everybody wants to know what makes someone do that.
That's right. And that's what fascinates me about this work, is being able to have the opportunity to do something like that. We won a lot of awards. We won quite a few. You ever heard of Sitges Film Festival in Barcelona? Yeah. Barcelona Film Festival.
Ooh, okay. Barcelona.
Yeah, and you know what? The producer, screw those guys. Anyway, no, that's why I thank God I was some kind of a producer. But we were invited to go to this film festival where so many big films were at, and he kept saying, "Well, you're not going to win." All this stuff, even though he was with us. I didn't really care what he said anyway.
Isn't that weird?
My God. Oh, no, it's not weird. You got to know some of these guys.
Oh, okay. I got it.
But yeah, we flew over to Barcelona, and there were so many big films that were up, and we actually won Best Film and Best Actor.
Awesome.
That's fantastic.
Awesome.
I was so proud. Yeah.
Very cool.
Well, I mean, I got to say, and we've been saying this about other actors, but I really, in all sincerity, have to say this about you. When I think of, actors like Peter O'Toole and like growing up watching Peter Cushing, who I thought was always great in everything that he ever did, no matter what the movie.
Yeah, right.
And that's really how I look at your career. I mean, I've never not enjoyed a Steve Railsback performance.
True.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
Thank you. You're very kind, believe me.
Steve, if Ed Gein also has another title too, doesn't it? It's
In the Light of the Moon, yeah.
Because I wanted to let listeners know sometimes it's under a different title, In the Light of the Moon. But was there a decision about, I'm not sure people are going to know what this is about, so why don't we just call it Ed Gein?
That was a working title, really, In the Light of the Moon.
Yeah.
But it was important that I think to change that to Ed Gein.
Yeah.
Now, since you were an executive producer, you'd done a lot of work. Were you able to get a bit of the back end if it did well? I mean,
I
all right,
own 17.5% of the film.
Hey,
nice. Hey.
Very nice.
All right.
So listeners, if you go out and buy that DVD,
that's right.
Go to Amazon, go to Netflix. No, don't go to Netflix. Go to Amazon.
Well, Blockbuster, back then.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. Sure.
Yeah, the film did quite well, actually. But as an actor, as a fan, I'm very proud of the film, Ed Gein. I'm very proud of what it was for, what it was about. I'm just proud of the film. And I'm proud of everybody in it.
This is a podcast called Monster Party, and we're total sci-fi horror nerds.
Right.
Another movie that I really enjoy because it's really just an old-fashioned monster on the loose movie is from 1987, Blue Monkey.
Yeah.
What was that like? That was a Canadian production.
Right?
No,
what was that like?
I don't know. I kind of wish I'd turned it down, but I didn't. No,
it's fun though. It's fun.
It is.
We do like it.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a lot of. Yeah.
I mean, you're shooting lasers at a giant mutant mantis in a hospital. How can
how
could be more fun?
Yeah.
What could be more fun?
Right.
Can I say this? I don't ever want to stay at that hospital because I don't think it's run very well.
And those little kids, it's all the little kids' fault, by the way, that the monster even happens because they spill hormones on it or something.
That's right.
It comes
it's
to life.
Their damn fault.
That's right.
We never should forget that.
Yes, but that's really, but the fun. You know how we talked about like Life Force doesn't really have that '80s look, but a Blue Monkey is definitely like an '80s monster movie. It has that.
There's a couple hairstyles.
Yeah, and just the blue like lighting and stuff. But for that movie, it works. It's kind of a guilty pleasure. I really enjoy that movie. It's fun.
No, it's kind of a comedy in a way.
Yeah.
You got Joe Flaherty in there, and
Robin Duke.
Robin Duke. Yeah,
John Vernon. I mean, come on.
John's been in a couple of my. He was in a film I did with Sophia Loren. He played my father.
Oh wow! Okay.
Wow.
There's that one.
He scares me in a different way.
John?
John Vernon.
John's a good guy. I forgot he was even in that. But I like
He's kind of playing the same
lot.
Dean Wormer kind of role.
Yeah,
He's like,
right.
Yeah, he's always
Right.
warmer. Yeah.
There's a movie that this movie is maybe one of the strangest movies in your credits.
Probably. I don't know what it is.
It's a South African movie made in 1987 called Nuki.
Oh,
and
God. Let's don't talk about it.
You broke. Oh, Sean.
Okay.
Sean, you broke him.
Thanks,
I had to bring it up
Sean.
though because it's so
Great.
odd.
Great,
It's
Sean.
like an
Great.
ET kind of movie but it's made in South Africa. That's all I'll say. Okay.
Yeah, no, it was made in South Africa, and it is an ET kind of movie in a way.
Yeah. That's a
Not on
strange
that
one.
level, but
No.
Did you get paid?
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll tell you a film I did enjoy called Slash.
Oh, okay. I've not seen this one.
No, it's something I did in South Africa in 2002 that I had fun making. It's about old McDonald's farm,
Oh, like a killer on a farm kind of thing?
Well, yeah, you just don't know who the killer is. But
Okay.
it's actually a pretty damn good film. You should see it.
Okay, that's one.
Check it out.
Oh, we will.
Cool.
You're also a very fun as a very bad guy in Alligator 2.
Yes.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
mutation.
Yes.
I did that because one of my closest buddies, Richard Lynch.
Oh, we love
Closest-
Richard Lynch.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
he's
did
so
I.
great. So
So
great.
did I. So
Yeah.
did I. We were in the moving business in 1969 in New York. He had a van with an actor named Barry Snyder, and I had a van with my brother Mike, and we would go out and move people. Well, we
Oh
were
my
the
gosh.
worst movers that ever lived. and us taking a couch down 4 flights of stairs, you can imagine the damage we did to these couches.
Wow.
Oh.
And we were in the movie. We called ourselves the Golden Fleet. I love
Wow.
Richard. I miss Richard.
That movie is a great cast too. Dee Wallace, Joseph Bologna, Bill Daly as the mayor. I mean, he must have been fun.
Oh yeah, no, he was. Yeah, everybody was fun in that, And
That's a cool one.
And Steve, you don't need to apologize for Nuki because you're a working actor. You got paid.
No, I wasn't apologizing for it. I was just saying, do we have to discuss it?
That's fine.
I'm kidding.
All right. All right. So now we're back. Nuki.
Oh, we're done with Nuki. We're
All
done.
right,
We're
all
moving
No,
Okay.
on.
it's all right. I'm okay.
Sean, what was the other film you wanted to ask?
Well, there's a couple. There's one that you had a smaller part, but it was an interesting movie and an interesting location. That was from '86 called The Wind with Meg Foster and David McCullum.
I love Meg. Yeah, we
me too.
shot that in Greece.
Yeah, the location
On one
is
of those islands, yeah.
really fascinating. Robert Morley's in it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Wingshauser at his unhinged best.
Listen, I like Wings. really
I'm
do.
sure he's.
That was Nico Mastorakis, one of the few genre Greek film directors.
Ah.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't have many fond memories of him, but no, I tell you why. The man was very anti-female,
Okay.
and the way he treated Meg just really pissed me off.
Really?
Yeah, that's no good.
And he was fine with the guys,
Uh,
didn't like women, period.
wow.
Well,
So
it's
it's kind of like reflection of the character in the movie and what she's going through in the movie.
Yeah,
And
and I got in his face a couple of times
Oh wow.
Oh.
Okay.
because when you pick on somebody like Meg Foster,
Yeah,
you
really.
gotta
Yeah,
be
I
a
know.
low life.
Right.
Yeah, really.
The old school Greek male mentality can be that way, kind of macho and misogynistic.
Yeah, I guess.
I'll be
Yeah,
the first to. Yeah.
I know.
Right.
It just,
Yeah,
just
we're
affected me in
dealing
the
with
wrong way.
James all the time. Like
James
that.
is Greek, by the way.
I'm Greek American, so yeah.
No.
I know it.
I love the Greek people. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not talking about that.
Just James
I'm talking
doesn't.
about my experience.
That's just my experience.
Another film, Steve, that you were also a producer on and you wrote the teleplay for. This was, I think, a USA Network television film.
It was the
called
first. It was the
The
very first.
Forgotten. Yeah, The Forgotten. A little bit some of the similar themes as The Visitors in some ways. Keith Carradine, Don Opper, Stacy Keach, directed by Stacy Keach's son,
brother Jimmy,
brother James Keach.
James Keach, yeah.
How did you get involved in that, especially as far as writing?
I was friends with Jimmy. We became very close friends, and we had this idea. We just started writing it over a period of a few years.
Okay.
And he would write the structure because he's really good with structure, and I'm really good with dialogue, with scenes so much. And we had this working thing going. Keith is one of the finest people you'll ever want to meet.
Keith Carradine, yeah.
Keith Carradine, yeah. And we got a deal to do the very first USA premiere movie, I think they were called.
Right. Yeah, that's right. When these other channels are starting to do their own original productions, right?
Yeah,
network. Yeah.
It was actually Paramount that did this one. And I'm very proud of that film. I'm very proud of what Keach did on it. I'm very proud of everybody in it. I was executive producer, and I loved the people in it. And it was great to see something actually come to life in a sense that we had both thought of.
Right.
We had this vague thing, and it became something.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty damn good show. I really do.
Because you've directed before and you wrote this and you've been a producer before, are those areas that you still are interested in doing as well as acting, or do you?
I'd be interested. I've kind of been held back because of my injuries.
Right.
And by the way, how are you feeling?
Yeah.
I'm sore. I mean, this is me. I'm such a clumsy, I got out of a car, fell, broke my hip.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Yeah. Then I'm doing a film called Nightcaller. And I'm walking down some stairs. My knees are so bad I can barely get down the stairs. But I'm walking down some stairs. I get to the last two steps. Boom. I re-break it.
Oh my gosh.
So, and that was like 2 months ago.
Oh, wow.
And so now I'm just, I had these surgeries.
Right.
And I'm just trying to recuperate and make sure I never fall again.
Oh, no.
Well, I know that you are a really busy actor. So on one hand, I'm sad that this happened, but fortunately, so we could get you on Monster Party.
I'm happy.
We're great to have you on. And
I'm so happy that you've asked me. It was nice.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah, no, this is fantastic. Yeah.
It's been wonderful. Thank you.
So you got this one film that's scheduled to come out in 2022, Nightcaller. Is there anything else that you're working on?
That was the film I injured myself on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else you've got in the works, or?
No, I've had opportunities, but I just can't work right now.
Right.
I just need to heal for another 4 months.
Well, you'll be happy to hear this, and that is we've already rescheduled you for another Monster Party.
Did you really?
Yeah.
For a series of episodes
let's
in
do
the
it.
next year.
I would love that.
But this time we're going to get together and we're going to have some food and some cocktails.
We need to do
I
that.
would love to do that.
Cocktails.
Yes.
There you go.
Amazing.
We would all love that. We've been cooped up, as I'm sure you have.
I know.
I know. It'd be so nice to,
Nice to drink with people.
Steve,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Steve, thank you so much for being with us tonight. It's been an absolute joy to
fantastic.
have you.
Oh my God. Dream come true.
Yeah.
Thank
really
all of you. All of you. You've made this a very pleasant day. And I appreciate it.
Well, guys, what do you say we lift our glasses
Toast.
and give a toast?
Oh, let me get my beer.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
So let's give a Monster Party toast to the amazing, the phenomenal Steve Railsback.
Thank you.
Time for a listener shout out.
Shout out.
This goes out to listener Rich Schaffer, who is a self-described poet, patriot, and man about town.
Wow. Okay.
And Rich comments on each of our new shows on Twitter. And after the last show, he asked a question.
Okay.
Are you going to do a watch party for Halloween? That would be fun.
So on Halloween or for the Halloween movie?
Halloween.
We're going to talk about like watches, like what you put on your wrist, or watch something visually.
I think watch something visually. I don't think wrist watches was what he had in mind, but that's something that we'll have to talk about online. But we do appreciate the suggestion.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I don't think we're there quite yet, but thank you, Rich, for listening, and thank you for commenting on every show.
Yeah, we have talked about doing some kind of commentary on a film.
Yeah,
having that be like either a Patreon thing or,
Yeah. That's something we have to look into. Yeah.
That's something that is definitely possible in the future. But yeah, I don't know about the watch party. I'm still grappling with the idea of what it would be.
Yeah. Also want to shout out to a listener from Chicago named Rob, who wrote on Twitter, Monster Party should win an award for most unique voices. All four of you, all four of you have such distinct timbre.
Really? Oh, wow.
I wonder if that's kind of a dig, a little bit.
No, that's not a dig. We don't blend in like some of those other podcasts out there.
We're not cookie cutter. We're not generic.
Okay, first of all, I don't really think it's a dig. That statement comes from my own lack of self-esteem, because every time I listen to my own voice, I'm like, "Oh God,
me too."
Shut up.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah. It's hard to listen to you.
It's always
I know, Larry. You love your voice.
Larry, you love your voice.
I do.
You listen to yourself hours. So just like
no, but I really appreciate that comment, because it is hard to be objective, and we're four guys.
That's true.
We don't know what a listener's experience is and how they make the distinction between who's talking. So it's good to hear that comment. So we appreciate that.
I will say this: I do love my voice more than Larry's.
Okay, that's all right.
Oh my God, he's wounded.
No, I'm not. What you're saying, that you like your voice better than my voice? That's that's acceptable.
It's very human.
It's very human.
Yeah.
Of all the voices I have tried to cancel out,
okay, is there
the most human.
Okay, is there more to this now, James?
No, that is it. That is it.
Oh.
Hey, and guess what? I have some shout outs.
You do?
I do, yes. And they are shout outs to Larry's Toy Time Episode 7 Star Wars.
It's about me.
It's about you. It finally came back to you. What were the odds of that happening?
I don't know. I'm curious. But
Larry has dropped his latest episode, and the people are going wild. And it's a great episode. I love them all. It is. With all seriousness, I love them all. But this latest episode, we've got Picasso the Mundane, who says, I keep looking, but I cannot find a lens that films in patented Kathy stroboscope.
It is patented. You can't get it anywhere.
Yeah. No. We guard the secret very carefully.
I tell you. Yeah.
And then Scott Porter says, that was great, Larry. Brings back so many good memories. And I would agree. Nice. And then Picasso the Mundane weighs in again, saying, so great, the memories. Hell, I even remember Jemco.
Oh, Jemco. I mentioned Jemco.
Yes. Oh. And he says, thanks, Larry. And then we have Jai Titcomb, longtime fan.
Yes.
From Australia, says, another fantastic episode, Larry. Please keep them coming. I want you to keep them coming as well, Larry.
That's right.
And then
will do.
Okay. And finally, Mark Rem says, thanks for sharing. Now I'm wondering if Matt W. has Star Wars curtains.
We're not going to say anything.
We're not going to say. This is sort of based on Larry's Star Wars sheets that he has.
But let's just say, if you want to find out what we're talking about, you got to join Patreon.
I will give this out for free. And that is, I don't have any Star Wars sheets, but I do have some human centipede sheets that I found on Etsy.
Oh my!
And what's great about them is that they're 3 sheets sewn together.
Perfect.
Yeah. Ass to mouth, of course. I'm not sure exactly where the ass and the mouth are on a sheet, but I think the guy that I got it from nailed it.
That's just sick.
Wow. Okay.
Well, it's appropriate, because right now I'm 3 sheets to the wind.
Hey! It's a party.
So Patreon. what is this about Patreon?
Oh, Patreon. Well, Patreon is this platform that you can go to where if you sign up, you will get bonus audio, bonus video, you'll get book downloads, and you'll get other things that we haven't necessarily thought of right now, but we know they're going to be cool. And exclusive only to Patreon.
Only to Patreon.
That's right. You have to be a member to access this stuff. And
it sounds very expensive.
Yeah, it's shocking and kind of insulting that you would say that. Because do you know what we're charging? We're charging $5 a month.
My God, that's nothing.
$5 a month.
You can't get Blue Monkey on DVD for $5.
No.
Come on.
It's funny you should say that because it's got to be like $29 or $40, right? From Arrow right now.
Yes,
the Blu-ray.
I spent more on Blue Monkey than I would on.
That's right. Come on.
Now there's a type of crack called Blue Monkey.
No.
Depending on where you go, you might be able to get it.
The film, sir. The film.
Oh, okay. Oh, come on. There's no crack called Blue Monkey. How could that be possible?
But anyway, you're bringing up a point. There's a point you're making here.
The point is $5 is cheap. And so you're getting a great deal on all this bonus stuff. And it serves you more than us to pay this $5, join our Patreon account, and unlock the treasure chest, as it were, that will reveal the treasures within.
I mean, Matt, the videos that we're making here, this is not going out on YouTube.
This is not going out. Right. I don't know how many times I got to say this shit. You people can only get it through Patreon. There's no other way. And you can try.
I know. Now look,
you can try.
I know there are a lot of listeners out there that go, well, I'd really love to see this stuff, but again, $5 a month, it's not very much. You won't even notice it.
Yeah. Just go to Patreon, go to Monster Party, click the join button, follow the instructions, and you're there. It's all waiting for you.
And hey, we've still got plenty of Monster Party merch available on our eBay store, which is Monster Party Store. We still have the glow-in-the-dark Monster Party classic logo T-shirt in various sizes.
Although we don't have too many of the bigger sizes anymore. We do have extra larges and we have larges. I think we're out of mediums. There's a few smalls left, and there's some female sizes.
And also still available in limited inventory is the Monster Party PPE mask, face mask. And now, now that we're not obligated to wear masks in public in a lot of places, I think these masks are even more valuable and more sought after.
Well, wait a minute. What about the Delta variant?
Yeah, who knows?
See, there's that.
Right? Yeah. Oh, just when you thought you didn't need Monster Party, maybe you do. Yeah. Maybe you do. Put the mask back on.
Inventory being limited, these things can end up going for hundreds on the resale market.
And you want to get two, of course, for obvious reasons. But now is the time because you can get it, and then you can laminate it, and then you can wear the laminated mask, as a face shield.
That's right.
Indeed.
We're all about helping.
And hey, let's remind our listeners, since we're all about helping, that you can find us on Facebook and YouTube at Monster Party TV. Our Twitter handle is at Monster Party HQ. Instagram, also Monster Party HQ. And hey, take a moment and write a review and post it on iTunes, wherever platform you're listening to us on. And we will read it on the air because we would love to hear your thoughts and share them.
Hey, I will read it to ducks.
That's right.
On that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
I'm Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Stroth.
And I'm James Gonis.
Keep America strong!
And watch anything that stars Steve Railsback. And give Patrick Stewart a kiss from us.
Vigilance.
Hey,
Hi there.
how
Hey
are
there.
Hey, we can't see you, but we can hear you, and you sound great.
you? Yeah, well, sounds like me on Zoom too. I can't see you, and sometimes I can't hear you.
We'll wing it, however it goes.
Okay,
Wait a minute. We got James. And
all right.
So, can you see us?
Yes,
You can see us.
well, I can see
Okay.
3 of you.
You can see 3 of us. Okay, that's good. The fourth one, because we don't have enough hosts for this show, is about to.
Really?
Yeah, we're looking for 2 or 3 more if possible. So, if you know anybody.
Oh, I think somebody just came on in the bottom.
Yeah, there we go. So
All
now
right.
we've got Larry, who you've met. I'm Matt.
Yeah.
We've got James, and then there's Sean. And we don't have your camera. There's no way that you know of to actually turn the camera on, unless you don't want the camera on. That's fine.
Well, wait, no, camera's fine with me. I just wouldn't know how to do it.
Let's see.
My wife just
Yeah. Marcy, I think, has it down. So
Okay,
Marcy,
great.
you have to-
she believe me, she smarter than I am.
Oh, that's
Fine.
I
that's
tell
my
you
wife as
what.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My wife is definitely the brains of the operation.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way.
No, me either.
I was just about to say thank you so much for joining this crazy party.
Yeah. This is very
Yeah.
exciting for us.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I wish I had a cocktail.
Oh, I know.
Oh man, yes.
Yeah.
Well, you can still get one because I think we have some.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know you guys have cocktails.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I always.
I think my wife is going to get me something.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, good.
Nice.
Good.
Yeah, and then James has a frappuccino because
Marcy
we don't
can-
even know who he is anymore.
I explained to Steve that in the past, we had people over, we had food, and we had cocktails. And
Yeah.
because of COVID, we've had to change that. So
Yeah.
he's hoping we could maybe get together one day and have like real cocktails. So-
I would love that.
Well, I have a
That'd be
beer
great.
now. My wife gave me a beer.
Oh, beautiful.
Okay.
Well, you're in. You have unlocked the door.
You've completed the party part of Monster Party.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Step number 1.
Hopefully it'll continue.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
And in honor of the occasion, I'm wearing my Stuntman t-shirt.
Nice.
Oh, that's a great logo. I mean,
Yeah, I
Oh
love
my
that.
God.
I
Yeah.
love that
Classic.
image.
that's
Remember
Richard Rush.
remember movie posters?
Yeah. They
Yeah,
were cool.
I do.
With
Yeah.
artwork.
When they were not photoshopped
Yeah.
monstrosities.
Yeah.
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 No, Richard Rush was a genius.
He's
Oh,
amazing.
yeah.
Indeed.
Amazing.
Right?
Just amazing.
Brilliant man. He passed away.
Yeah. Just recently.
Just
Or-
recently.
I mean, not
I
too
know.
long ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a big memorial for him on Saturday. Last
Oh
Saturday.
wow.
Wow.
Everybody got up and spoke and partied.
That's the way to have a wake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
So Steve, so just to let you know, if you're feeling good, we'll get started. And just to let you know how we do this is Matt is going to open the show with like a little creepy voice.
Oh, good.
And then we
Creepier than this one.
we introduce ourselves, and then we typically say what the topic is, and then we say who our guest is. But since you are the topic, Matt is gonna maybe allude to the topic, and Sean is gonna give this wonderful introduction to bring our topic to life, and then we'll get in it.
Get into it.
All right.
Because it appears you've done some work. From looking at IMDb.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
You have
You've
some
been in a
credits.
couple movies, I think.
Yeah.
I was telling Steve, if you say, "Oh, and Roger Corman, that jerk," and "Oh, I shouldn't have said that," well, I said, "Okay, Steve, we'll go back. We'll take that out. Let's just start over again." You go, "Oh,
Sure,
that Roger
yeah.
Corman was
Yeah.
a great
And also-
guy."
Also, I have the IMDb at my fingertips, so if you forget a name or something, I can look it up really quick.
Yeah. We have the magic computer machine.
So
Yes.
if you were to say, "Yeah, I was in the Stuntman with that," what was that big actor? What was his name? And we have a
I can't remember.
Yeah,
Edward G. Robinson.
So secondary to me. You know?
no. Yeah. So, but it's
Peter
like
O'Jewel?
no. We'll
A true
Steve.
brilliant man.
Oh
Yes.
my!
Oh,
I
wow.
have to ask you about him, but it's like if for some reason we have a long pause, don't worry, Matt will fix it so it goes like that. So,
Oh,
and if we need a moment, Sean will find it because we're going to
Thank
make
you,
you
Matt.
sound great.
Oh, of course. No. It's all about making everybody look good and sound good.
Yes. Yeah.
Looking, I have my own problems with that, but sound, no problem.
No.
But I
too.
always look and sound good. So.
Yes. Okay. So before we start this thing, at this point, we still don't have a camera. And if there's anything Marcy on your end can do to fix that, that'd be great. But if she can't, then we'll just go without the camera.
Hold on. Let me.
Yeah.
Is there any way you can click on a camera?
It might just be like a, click
Okay.
video or something.
She's going to put some pants on. She'll be right back.
I think we all should probably put some pants on.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
We've done
absolutely.
the shown pant list many times.
Yeah, no,
Absolutely.
it's kind of a thing.
It's the
Yeah.
Zoom. It's the Zoom thing.
It's a brand new day.
God.
It's super informal.
It's either no pants or really tight ones. That's how we roll.
Yeah, right. Yeah, me too.
Well, we'll just
Cool.
take this moment. Speaking of tight pants,
Oh my.
Oh, yeah.
do we all remember? Steve, you might have worn these back in the '80s. Angel Flights. Remember Angel Flights pants? It really curved your bottom.
Really?
I loved wearing those in high school. Yeah, at a dance. And it's
I
like
don't
showed
remember
off.
that.
Come
Yeah,
on,
no.
Sean.
No, don't say come on
I
like
mean-
we all wore angel flights because we didn't.
I may have seen.
I
but
don't
remember what they
remember
were
Angel
called.
Flights. But
I've been on the Angel flight, but
Oh,
Yeah.
There you go.
You get that from the that special pharmacy down the street. I know. I get it.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
this is just really weird. This is totally off topic here, but so I was going through some old photos. I came across a photo of myself, and I was leaning over. I think this was in high school. I was leaning over, talking to some girl, and there's this picture of my shapely butt wearing the
Oh,
Angel
yeah.
Flights, and that's why I was.
Steve, this is not exactly how I saw the beginning of the show going.
well, we're just
But-
no.
But now you're getting to know us a little better.
My-
Oh, there you go. Hey.
Oh,
Hey.
all right. We could see.
yes, it's a miracle.
Look at
It's a
that.
miracle.
Wow.
Thank you, honey.
Thanks. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Marcy. See, Marcy's the best.
She
She's
is.
the best.
She is. I don't know how she got stuck with me, but she's the best.
You guys seem very happy. You seem like you've
She
worked
just
out.
said she doesn't know either.
Yeah.
Charming personality does it every time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so again, Steve, we're aiming for 90 minutes. If you feel like you want to go longer,
Or
by
shorter.
all means,
Anything.
or shorter,
Yeah, we'll just do
Yeah.
it and see
No,
how it
that's
goes.
okay. I'll go as long as I can.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Because
Much appreciated.
Steve, I know you have loads of stories. So
I
you know.
do have
we
some.
want to hear them.
Oh my.
Mhm.
Yeah. And this is all very exciting for us because we're all gigantic fans.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh, you're very kind. I mean that. Thank you.
Greetings, everyone. And welcome. Excuse me. I need to start that again.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just one of those days. Here we go.
little blue monkey caught in the throat.
Little string cheese in the pipes there. Okay, here we go.
So Steve, we've been going for 2 hours. How you doing?
Oh, I'm about to go to sleep, but no, I'm kidding.
Okay, no,
Listen to me.
We can wrap this up here.
No.
Yeah, Matt. No. Steve, you're great. I love your stories, but just we're at the 2 hour mark, and I just want to make sure you're okay.
There's
We
a couple
can-
more titles I'd love to
Yeah.
throw out.
No,
just
no.
quickly, too.
Yeah, we just want to do a couple more
Yeah.
titles.
Well,
And maybe,
if I complained, would it make any difference? I'm kidding. No, listen to me. My kids don't think I'm funny either.
Yeah. We have you under Zoom control. So, yes. It's the best way to listen to our podcast, by the way.
Yes.
Laying down, relaxed.
That's right.
a lot of people listen to us while they're driving in their car or while they're cleaning their house. That's what
Yeah.
we've you know.
Well, maybe I should have got a cleaner.
There we go. Yeah.
Started cleaning the house.
We'll give you one of our special Monster Party brooms.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Watch anything that stars Steve Railsback.
And he's going to say the Patrick Stewart line. Like he's going to say, like, keep America strong,
Even very strong.
Do you want to say this? I mean, I was planning on saying it, but if somebody, if somebody wants to do it, it's not all about me.
You
hear that, Larry?
Wow. Whoa. My mind is.
No, that's fine. Yeah, you can do it. All that's good.
Why don't you just try it? Do it. We'll see.
You want to see how it goes with me doing it?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Run it
I'll try
by,
not to lay you down.
See if it works. Be ready to make
I'll try to get a call back.
Okay.
Have your notepad out.
All right. Okay. All right. I'm just gonna have fun with it.
Have fun with it.
Okay, here we go. And now I'm gonna, of course, destroy it.
See, why do you do that? See, when you say that, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Oh,
failure. No. Come on, let's psych you up. Matt, you're going to do great.
Okay, thank you. You know what? I need that around. Around this time.
Vigilance.
Oh, vigilance. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Maybe we should have Sean say that after you say the line.
Oh, that's funny. I like that. I like that, Larry.
Vigilance.
Just whisper vigilance.
In Sean's voice.
At the very end?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And let Matt do his kiss line. And
then you say,
go,
okay. All right.
That's good. I like that. That's great.
That's not like making fun of him, though, is it?
No.
Why? No.
I think
I just want to make sure. Okay.
I think he'd love it.